Hi guys, Fun and Neutral. I just wanted to do a quick little video and kind of a cross comparison between the Honda Monkey and the Honda CT Trail125. The reason being is I've been asked a couple times, like, which bike do I think does this, which bike do I think does that, and I think there's a few people out there that are interested in both bikes but are kind of undecided or on the fence about which way they should go. So with that in mind, I'm just going to do a real quick cross comparison, maybe mention a few of the things I like and don't like about each model, and just put in my 2 cents worth about what I think. So with that, we'll get started. Please bear with me real quick while I get us out there. All right, let me start first with the Honda Trail125. It obviously, well, actually, let me put it to you this way. What it really boils down to, in my humble opinion, is what you plan to do with the bikes. You got to ask yourself that question. What do I plan to do with these? Am I going to be mostly on road? Am I going to be mostly off-road? Do I want to do a little bit of both? And also, pretty important question you need to ask yourself is, how much am I willing to spend to accessorize each bike to get it to do what I want and to make it most comfortable for your individual needs? So now we can move forward. This couple things. So the Trail125 is real popular right now. It's the new kid on the block, even though it's been around forever. They're hard to get a hold of. It's got a popular following. People used to start out their motorcycle riding back in the day with these. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case for me. I wasn't exposed to the CT platform until a couple years ago, but since then I've kind of fallen in love with it. The one thing that you're going to notice between both of these bikes, they both have the same engine. They're just geared differently. Same thing as the same engine on the Super Cub. The things that I think people are concerned with the Trail125 is power and how it's geared. It is geared for off-road. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, when I first started riding it, if any of you have ever been on a riding lawnmower and put it out on a hardtop and put it in 4th speed, you know how it makes a lot of noise but doesn't go that fast? That's kind of how I feel on the Trail125 in comparison to the Honda Monkey. The Monkey is of course geared more toward the road, and it's the way it is. Can the Trail125 be geared differently? Yeah, you can put sprockets on, but and you can adjust that. Maybe go with a smoother tire with less rolling resistance. It's another possibility. But we're just going once again back to what are you going to use each bike for? And without me adding a bunch of my own personal feelings on it, I'm just going to keep it short, because I know not everybody wants to hear all that. So the things about the Trail125, it doesn't go fast as I would like it to go, but it's not designed for that. But it does go fast enough to get you where you need to go. The seat is hard. I think there's a lot of people that can attest to that. And a few people, I think Daniel in Thailand, he even tried to buy an aftermarket seat, and it ended up being harder than this seat, if you can believe that. That's one of the things I just don't understand. Even the CT90 factory seat was much more comfortable than this new CT Trail125 seat. I don't get that. But there is hope on the horizon. Corbin is in the process of designing a Corbin seat for the Trail125. They already have them out for the Honda Monkey, even though the Honda Monkey does not need a Corbin seat. Its factory seat is perfection, in my opinion. But there is hope on the horizon with a Corbin seat if you're willing to spend the money for your butt, which I definitely am. There's a banana seat out there too that takes away your rear cargo rack. that I have not tried, but I think Robert on Oki in Thailand, his new riding buddy, he's tried that seat out, so maybe he'll offer some comfort input about that. I think there was some problems with the install with it. Okay, so the things that I think kind of poke out when you look at the Trail 125 at a glance are the upswept exhaust, which you can see I switched out to the Yoshimura. The factory exhaust is beautiful in itself. There's some wind with this, I'm sorry. We're getting a little bit of fall-like weather down here in Florida. So the upswept exhaust, you get a nice center stand. Also, another thing that kind of sticks out is the heel toe shifter. One bit on this bike that I really like, and I'm glad Honda stuck with tradition, is this really cool metal front fender. That's probably, and as weird as it sounds, it's like my favorite part. It looks beautiful. I mean, and these little tiny itty bitty rivets they got on here, those are awesome. I just love the way they did that. Even down to the little rubber splash guard, mud guard to keep the crap off of your engine. It's just really cool. That harkens back to the Early's model. Spoked rims kind of poke out with this bike. So the vintage appeal on the Trail 125 sticks out. Upswept exhaust, and last but not least, almost forgot about that, was the rear cargo rack. I would say I would have preferred this to be black in color versus red, but that's just my opinion. But it's cool. I will say the chrome version also from my 1970 CT90 that I had, I think was more sturdy, and you didn't have to worry about as much of it getting marked up. I think riding with Waro did something really, really cool. He was a braver man than I. When he hooked up his sports car to this right here and pulled the car with the little Trail 125 CT125, that was really cool. And you know, I've always said I think that these guards and these racks and all that jazz are as strong as the mounting hardware that they're attached to the bike with. So good on Honda for that mounting hardware holding up. Another thing that you need to take into consideration as far as the Trail 125, CT125, and Honda Monkey are the rider's triangle. And if you're a really tall guy, you may feel a little bit more goofy on this bike than you would on this bike because it's a bigger size bike. I mean, just at a glance, you could see that's pretty apparent. So if it bothers you to look big on a little bike, you may want to lean towards the Trail 125. But also you need to take into consideration that lovely seat. Robert in Oki's video was tall, and he found himself at the rear of the seat. I think Daniel also had the same problem. Shout out to both of them. And I think John 5XR as well, he found himself at the very back of this seat. So that gets old, I think, as far as comfort goes with the tall guys. But like I said, there's modifications you can do to fix that if you really want one of these bikes. So I'm not going to get into power details. We all know these are 125 engines. This is just more about my perspective, since I have both bikes. I'm very blessed and fortunate to have both. I'm not trying to be a show off. I just wanted to compare the two, and I had somebody, or I saw a question to somebody else, and I figured I'd throw my 2 cents worth in. How do they make you feel? Okay, that's the big question. How does it make you feel to ride? The Trail 125 feels nice. It's, like I said, it's more of an off-road oriented bike. So you're going to get that effect of it's kind of rough, slow on the hardtop. If that's all you're going to be doing, it might not be the bike for you. Looks wise though, it is a cool looking bike, you have to admit. So, but you know what they say about pretty. It is a fun bike, but if you're going to be doing mostly on road, probably not. I do intend one day to start going off-riding. It's just I'm gonna have to trailer to some decent places to go, and that's not too far off in my agenda. That's why I went ahead and got this bike and I'm keeping it until I can trailer it. It's very luggable, it's very light, so throwing it up in the back of a pickup truck is not a problem. So that's what my feelings are on that. My feelings are it's fun to ride. The heel toe shifting and centrifugal clutch is a nice change versus the regular transmission. So it's kind of like hopping off of one theme park ride going on to another. Getting your foot on that heel toe shifter is kind of fun. All right, so the Honda Monkey, I got this before I got the Trail 125. I got it back when my CT90 was being refurbed, and I've really, you know, fallen in love with this bike. I've had it since 2019 and got over 5,000 miles on it, which isn't that much in the scheme of things, but they've all been fun miles. I've had no problems at all. The center stand that I brought up on the Trail 125 that you do see here on the Honda Monkey is not OEM. I added that from T-Rex Racing, and I'm really glad I did, because wow, what a difference it makes as far as chain maintenance and all that stuff. And when you get a rear flat tire like I've gotten, you don't have to go through a bunch of hassle of, you know, trying to get the bike up on a stand, which is a little bit hard because the Monkey is really low to the ground. I have a little pit bike stand and it wouldn't fit under there. It did fit, but the bike started sliding forward on it because it's up so high off the ground. So that little center stand there has been great. You do lose ground clearance though if you intend on taking this bike off-road. Uncle Voodoo's taken his off-road quite a bit, and you could see how it performs watching his videos. But that was brought up as far as that goes. The features with the Honda Monkey I think that make it poke out are the upswept exhaust as well. That is a Yoshimura aftermarket that I put on. The seat on the Honda Monkey is phenomenal. It is so comfortable. It's one of the most comfortable seats that I've ever ridden on, and I've been on a few bikes. So if comfort's your thing, go sit on one. You can do that for free at a dealership, even they won't let you test drive it. Sit on it. That's great. The chrome fenders on this bike are really cool. So it's something to, you know, look at, and looks pretty, and it goes back to the vintage appeal, just like the Trail 125's front fender. It's nice that they used metal and chrome on this as well. So the rear fender is also chrome. That's pretty cool. I love the little chrome accents of this bike. The peanut shaped gas tank, I think, gets people's attention. The air box is kind of ugly. A lot of people remove those, rightfully so. I've not bothered with it because I'm not doing any engine mods besides my exhaust, so I'm just gonna leave my air box on there. You can see I've added a few accessories that may or may not take away from the looks of the bike. You know, it's an eye of the beholder as far as the windscreen and like the hand guards. You know, I do that. Those are, to me, like safety and comfort features for the bike, as far as if it drops over, less damage. So how does this bike make me feel? It's fun. It's great on the road. Can it be made to be driven off-road? Yes, you can put knobbies on it. And that little skid plate you see on there, I'm not going to call it a skid plate. I'm just going to call it more of a guard, like a mud guard, because if that thing got hit with a legitimate stump or something like that, it's going to break off, and it may even damage the bits of the engine that it's attached to. So that's something just to take into consideration. T-Rex, I'm not like endorsing their stuff for them, but they make a crash guard slash skid plate for the Honda Monkey, and I think from what I've researched, it's one of the best for this design. Like if you really do want to take this bike off-road, I think those are the most robust designs you're going to get. Sorry about the airplane flying overhead. But that will take away from your ground clearance as well. Just something to consider. So of the two bikes, I really like them both equally. Looks wise, they look, you know, vintage, but they're both different in their own ways. So as far as performance goes, it's the same engine, just geared differently. So availability with the Honda Monkey that has come out with the 2022s, if you're gonna decide on a Honda Monkey, I would definitely go with the 2022 version versus getting the current, like 2019 or prior versions, because the newer one has a 5th gear and it's got a dedicated oil filter that's easy to take off. You don't have to take the side cover off, so that's worth the wait in my opinion. I think, like I said, that's the 2022 versions up. The Trail 125, there's rumors that there's a Trail 150 out there. Nobody's really heard anything else besides what was on YouTube, a little tiny release that said Honda was looking at that. So it's something to consider. There's a possibility that Honda may release that. Who knows? Height-wise, if you're somebody that, like I said, this may bother you. You may find it an issue with the rider's triangle on the Honda Monkey if you're a really tall person. Also, suspension on both bikes are for, you know, read the suspension and the weight recommendations, because those are legitimate. They can slow the bike down a lot if you pack it up with luggage and equipment, and if you're, you know, you weigh more than what they recommend. It makes a really big difference when you go to try and get on this bike and get on it. You're going to notice it slows it down. So I'm not saying I like one more than the other. They're both just different. The Honda Monkey makes me feel happy when I ride it. You feel like you can zip around more and it's more comfortable on the road. I've not ridden mine off-road, so I can't give you a true evaluation of that. But there are tons of videos that show this bike doing great off-road with knobbies. Now you can see I changed my tires out for Michelin's because I'm mostly on road. I did not like the V tires it came with. Mine were kind of jacked up and really bouncy, so I got rid of them shortly after getting the bike, so I'd have a smoother ride. The Trail 125 comes with like 80-20 tires that just needed a little bit of balancing to get where I liked them. They were kind of bouncy from the factory, but I took them to the Honda shop and they balanced them out. They're comfortable now. So I think both bikes have a great fan base, so check out all the videos. I've not heard of any problems with either of these bikes. The Monkey's been around longer, but it's basically the same engine. So, you know, these bikes are hard to come by on the used market, so if you're waiting around to find one used, I've not seen one yet down here in Florida when I kind of glance on Craigslist. But who knows, you may come across a Monkey, probably not a Trail, but if you do come across one, snatch it up if that's what you're remotely interested in. But that's it. I just wanted to share my thoughts on the two. You know, they're both fun bikes. It's just the main thing, ask yourself what I'm mostly going to use this for. If you can have one of each, that's ultimately the way to go. If you're mostly riding on the road, I would get the Honda Monkey. If you're going to be mostly off-roading, I would get the Trail 125. And I'm talking about in their stock forms, like if you're not wanting to throw a bunch of money at them, change out the suspension, the tires, and all that jazz, just as is. If you're on a strict budget, that's what I would do. And I think either way, you can't go wrong, and you'll have a good time with them. You know, also check out the Super Cub and the Grom. They've just been re-released with some upgrades as well, but I don't have those, and I don't plan on getting either one at this time. This is enough for me. So that's it. I just wanted to share my thoughts on having both of them, and hope this little bit of information helps somebody that's on the fence which one they should get. And catch you guys next time.